I mean, a great example is both of you coming together and putting this up. We need a lot of motivation from a lot of people, and I watch your channel because I want to see what others are. And you know, you have a lot of good people that are talking on your channel. I want to hear from them, learn from them, get motivated. You know, all of us need our dose, right?
True.
Yeah.
All of us need our dose, right? So this is my dose. But I think coming back to your question about why business analytics, see.
A boy who, like many of us, traveled from India to USA to pursue his master's from one of the biggest universities, the University of Texas at Dallas, with American dreams in his eyes. A guy who within 5 years of his graduation managed to be the program director of one of the biggest business analytics program at the same university which he was a student to 5 years back. An amazing speaker who heads the Toastmaster district in the northeastern Texas, who plays a very prominent role in most of the organizations here at UTD and in JSOM, and above all, a guy who manages to make sure that all of his students stay motivated all the time. Welcome to the Musing Box. Today we have in conversation with us a guy who needs no introduction, Professor Gaurav Shekhar.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Professor, thank you for being in this channel with us today, being in conversation with us. So like my first question to you is that how do you manage to do this? Do all this without and still be sane at the same time?
Hey, that's a secret I cannot reveal because you know what? There's absolutely no method to it. There's no framework. There is no secret potion. There is no diet. There is no tonic for this. But I just have this passion to see hundreds of you go out flourish. And I think that is what keeps me going because, you know, the reason I came into academia after I graduated from UT Dallas, and I'll tell you one thing, people who are wanting to come to UT Dallas, this place is magical. When I say that, I've gone through the transformation myself. While I was a student here, I was very engaged with a lot of things. Literally everything that I could do here. And even after graduation, I felt, man, I could have done so many other things. But this place has a very different energy. After graduation, I was still able to stay connected. And then when the opportunity came to move to UTD full-time, it was a decision I took in a heartbeat. Because, you know, you really need to identify a place that recognizes what you can do and gives you the ability to do it. And I found that here at UTD and JSOM in the programs. But one thing I'll say, there is no energy in the world, in the universe that matches what a student brings. And I think that is what used to energize me. It still energizes me, keeps me energized. And when you disconnect yourself with material needs and you know that, oh, if I do these 5 things or 10 things, it'll yield me X, Y, and Z. And you just think about developing people. You know, when I was working in the industry, I worked with a lot of good companies and great mentors and great people there. I was always working on something that made me better. Mm-hmm. Me, my department, my team. Now at UT Dallas, there is a 1000x multiplier to that because now when I work with a student, and I'm not saying that I am responsible for everything that happens to them because I'll give all the credit to the students, they're very hardworking. But just being a part of somebody's life and, you know, even if it is like 0.00001% of my involvement in making that work, seeing the person flourish, prosper, and do big things, you know, there's no better gratification than that. So to make sure that I have that gratification, if it requires me to do stuff that I do here, and you know, to be honest, a lot of times it just falls in place. To be honest, it all falls in place. But that's what I do here, and that's what kind of keeps me energized as well. Because at the end of the day, find a reason why you want to do what you want to do, and as soon as that reason opens up in front of you, shows up your face, I'll tell you, your life will transform. Your life will change, and I've seen the transformation in myself. So,
Wow, Professor, and I can give a testimony to that. I mean, when you are here, like all the parents out there, you don't need to worry about your children, their mental health. We just have him to be our guide here. We can just text to him or like on mail, or just go on in a walk-in appointment at his office, and he manages to make sure that when we leave the office we are out of all our worries, or at least we are calmer than what we were. So and you can reach out to him like anywhere, telegram, be it by mail, or you can just go to his office and just tell him that, Professor, I am in this situation, please guide me, and he will give you the unsolicited advice that you need, for sure, Professor.
That is true. I mean, he's the most helpful person over here. Just any problem, like recently, I think someone has lost his passport and he reached out to you, and you helped him. So these are the things, these little things matters a lot to students. Having someone, whom you can fall back to. But the great thing about you is your musing, sir. I mean, you have some great thought that you have shared right now. And the sole purpose of this channel was to get into the mind of some great people, because that gives you a different perspective in your life. Something like I cannot think in a certain way that you can think. And you have gone through this process from being into UDD to being right now here. So we would like to know your perspective about business analytics. Like, what is business analytics for you, or according to you?
Yeah, as a program director, so everyone has a different perspective. For me, business analytics would be different. We want to know what is business analytics according to you?
Wow, that's a great question. See, to answer this question really well, we'll have to go back a few decades. What was the biggest thing that happened in the 70s? Computers became small enough to come into our homes. It became affordable enough for almost any type of business.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just another big government machine that only big corporations could afford. So that brings us to the next. And why do we use computers? We use them for building applications that help us manage data. At the end of the day, it's data management that's happening with any application. Right? That's what it is. As we moved into the 70s was more about, okay, how do we collect this data, store this data? What are those good softwares, processes, procedures? The foundations of database was defined then. After a couple decades, there was heaps of data people were sitting on. So the question was, now what do we do with it? So that's when the leaders came out and they said, well, you know what, let's go and look into some of the historical patterns that we can. What do you want as an individual? If I ask you, all of us want to know what's happening tomorrow?
Yes.
If I can give you a video of your tomorrow, what will you do today? I tell you, this is exactly what is going to happen. You will try to do something to make it more favorable. In case you see there is something wrong that's going to happen to you tomorrow, what will you do?
We'll try to rectify it.
Yeah.
Will you just be like, no, I have to put my foot into that hole because that's how it is supposed to be? You won't do that. You won't do that. And that's exactly what the whole thing about business analytics is, that people wanted to see what they could do with that data to make better decisions in the future. Now, whenever that happens, the first thing companies do is, okay, you know what, let's get a trainer and let's teach our people how to do this. But you can't just put people through some crash courses and then expect them to just understand it.
Right.
It is a very focused and pointed discipline. You need to know a lot of facets around it to understand the language of data, to understand what it is trying to tell you. And a lot of times when in our courses as well, some of the courses are not that easy as opposed to some of the others. But remember, you are trying to learn something that most of the people in the world don't know. That's the thing about analytics. That's the simplest thing. So when all this was happening and companies were trying to train people, they found out that the speed at which the need was growing was not at the speed at which they were training people. And whenever this has happened in the industry, they have turned to only one person: academia. So academia, that's how a business analytics program came up. I mean, the first program that came in the US was in the year 2007. So we are not too far away from that. And even with companies, they are trying to establish their analytics practices now. Even if they had it for a few years, they're trying to do it in the right way. See, analytics is still a very unknown beast to people. Very powerful, but yet there is a lot of stuff that is unknown to it. So for people to really make sense and do the right things in their jobs and roles to make those right decisions, they need trained people. And that's what this program provisions. And our program is designed in a way that it lets you choose the flavor you want, but at the same time, it gives you cutting edge skills. Because, say, a good program is where you go in and you get skills that you can eventually and quickly become an independent contributor. You're not dependent on people to help you out. And that's what this program does. I mean, just for your information, we are the largest business analytics program in the country.
Wow.
We are the largest program in the School of Management, graduate program. That is there. And with business analytics, the kind of flavor our students are getting, they're actually going out and they are changing the way companies have established their practices. I mean, they're teaching people how to do analytics. And what a proud moment that would be when our students go out and say, well, you know what, my company didn't know how to do this, but now they know because I was there. Now this is tough. This can be challenging, and guess what? Not everything is 100% easy, right? There are challenges. That's why we go to school. We want to learn things that we don't know. We don't go to school that, oh, let's get into a school, take courses and stuff that we know of. Let's get 100% points and then graduate. That's a learning curve that we are going through. And there are difficulties, there are challenges, there are methods to solve it. Okay, but at the end of it, a very polished practitioner. Every time, when we sit in the graduation and we see people passing on the stage shaking hands with the dean, those are a very, a hard-skilled practitioner, professional that is going out in the industry. And that's what we take pride in. The other thing we take a lot of pride in is the fact, when we look at some of our competitors, and there's always this question about, well, we need the best in our team. Yes, you need the best in your team, that's fine. But for us, the goal is, when we look at students, we don't look at, okay, if you're not a topper, you cannot be in this program. Then what is the program doing? Our goal is, you bring somebody who has the ability. And your ability cannot be certified just by a past degree, just by a work experience, just by one or two things. We always say we look at applications very holistically because we want to see somebody, can they do it? If they're put into this program, can they do it? And if the question is a yes, definitely. If it's a maybe, we'll try to see if this person can be put into this program, because that's where we take pride in the fact that you bring in a person who has the ability and the dedication to do it, and our program will make them good. And talk to a lot of your friends. A lot of people who are maybe watching this will talk to your friends. When you will talk to them about the transformation they've gone through, everybody will have a very unique and amazing story about what they've gone through, because that's what this is about. See, if it was easy, here is what I would say. And this is golden nuggets that somebody gave me long ago. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
True.
Right?
True.
And we don't rise or we don't shine by just doing easy things. We do things that make us uncomfortable. We do things that, that test and challenge and try to make us the best version of ourselves. And the fact I know we have a lot of students, and especially, the international ones as well. Whether it's a domestic student or it's an international student, you deciding to do a degree with us is a big step. It's not an easy step. You're not just going to Walmart and you're like, well, I need a degree there. You are putting time, you're putting money, you're putting resources, you're probably putting, hitting that pause button on your personal life. Maybe your professional life needs some kind of rearrangement. You're putting a lot to get to this. So I think if the going gets tough, don't worry, because right at the end of it, there is some amazing things that are waiting for you. And this is just not me speaking as a program director. I'm speaking about this as an alum. I'm speaking about this as somebody who's gone through it. And I know for a fact, thousands of students who are right now occupying great places and are changing the face of the planet. No longer a city, state, country, the face of the planet by the work they are doing. So every day when I think about the program, and all our programs are amazing, it's just that, we have the ability to create something that transforms human beings. And that is what keeps us going. The best way to put it.
Yeah, and the transformation that professor was talking about, I can give you my personal experience as well. Like I'm also enrolled in the business analytics degree. When I came here, I was a non-technical background, and like the first 2 months were so intimidating because I had in class with me people who have done IT for like 5-6 years, people who are data science specialists and all of that. But but when I came here, I was given the environment, and the environment is so enthusiastic that you want to learn, that you would go to any lengths to, you would do courses apart from your academia. You would have amazing friends who will motivate you. You will have professors who will tell you that do this project or you should go in this line. And trust me, now like it has been 6 months for me, only 6 months, and my transformation is that from zero programming language, now I know 5 of them. I can when I was like very very scared of doing machine learning, these were the big words for me. Today I'm doing independent projects on machine learning. So that was the transformation that professor was talking about, and I can give you the personal testimony out of it. The environment here is just so vibrant that you just fall into it. You don't do anything, you just fall into it automatically. So that that makes me come to another question, professor. Like business analytics, it's a very you can say very popular major right nowadays. So student offer just go for it because everyone is doing it. Like everyone, if you just search on Google hot jobs today, you'll get business analytics, machine learning, data science. So students often just go for masters thinking about that. So like what do you want, like what do you have in like as advice for students who are going to take business analytics, what they should keep in mind before taking it as their major?
What they should consider while thinking that, like, okay, I'm going to take business analytics. What are the do's and don'ts?
See, to be honest, there's no playbook that's out there that, okay, let's follow these 10 things and we'll get success. All of us have very different stories, and different things work out for us. But I would say, don't look at your life, what's going to happen in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Think of what you're good at. Think about what kind of career you want to get into. Jobs are temporary, career is permanent. And to be honest, be brave enough to make a decision. Be brave enough to say that yes and just make it work. I would say that people who are interested in technology, and a lot of companies are using the power of data to make those decisions. So there's going to be a lot of focus on things around data. There will be a lot of focus on technologies around data, AI, machine learning, big data. I mean, see, the customer needs is what defines how the technology needs will be. And our consumers, our customers, all of us, we're evolving faster than the previous generations. It doesn't matter when you were born. The rate at which you're developing is faster than what it was before. And technology has a lot to do with it. And if that is what enthralls you, and you are kind of very passionate about things around data and technology, business analytics is a good one for you. Again, at the end of the day, it helps you look at the business side of things. It helps you look at the technical side of things and make decisions. That's what you're helping. You're not somebody who's just listening to your hunch about, what should be the case or how should we go about deciding something. You're using strong facts, models, figures. And yes, I mean, it takes time. I would not say, I've done a lot of it myself, and I still remember the early days, and it was petrifying. But you have to find out what really drives your passion. If it doesn't drive your passion today, no problem. That's what we explore. That's what we do when we are at college. Take some courses that not everybody is taking, but you are passionate about it because you want to explore it. You want to know what it is. At the end of the day, remember, a university is a very safe environment. It is okay to your experiments. It's okay to you testing. It's okay to you figuring out stuff. I would say the penalty for not doing it the right way is almost negligible. Okay?
Right.
But think about how are you going to nurture yourself, because here is what will make a difference. If you look at yourself as a problem solver of the future, if you look at yourself who's driving the lives of millions of people, a bad report can result into a wrong decision that can affect 1 billion people. It can. You might not know about it directly, but every other thing that you do has an impact on several people. Start thinking about it, how you're affecting people. The minute you bring people's lives and what you're doing and how does that affect them into the picture, into your equation, you'll have a very different perspective about life. It won't be limited to what role I want to be in, because see, at the end of the day, yes, all these are skills that we are doing, that we are earning to be good professionals, but that's not what we are known for, right? I have this very, I don't know, popular / unpopular thing. I say we're all working for our funeral.
Wow.
We're all working for our funeral. You know why? Because our funeral will determine what the kind of life we lived. We won't be there to witness it, but that day will define how we were. And at that day, people will talk about how good of a person you were.
Right.
Can you imagine somebody coming to your funeral saying, you know what, well, so sad that he's no more, but man, what great Python programmer he was. Nobody will talk about it. People will talk about you and how you have affected people's life. You have to find, as I mentioned before, you have to find something that helps you stay motivated. And if you find a reason in making other people successful, I will write it on a piece of paper for you. That reason is going to drive you infinitely. There is no better thing than seeing people succeed and knowing that there was some role that you played. Because, why are we doing all this? Who are we doing this for? We're doing this for people and making people's life better. I mean, a great example is both of you coming together and putting this up. We need a lot of motivation from a lot of people, and I watch your channel because I want to see what others are, and you have a lot of good people that are talking on your channel. I want to hear from them, learn from them, get motivated. All of us need our dose, right?
True.
Yeah.
All of us need our dose, right? So this is my dose. But I think coming back to your question about why business analytics, see what kind of work you want to do, what excites you. Some of it will feel very difficult. And even when you come here, let's say you're in a course and you're not doing well, don't drop your dreams because you're not doing well in a course. Just because there is a shutdown in the water line, we don't stop showering, right? Oh, this is not working today. No water, I'll stop showering. You don't do that. Temporary. See, the problem is, and here is what I feel most of us go through, and I've gone through it a lot of times myself. I have the scar tissue to talk about it. We let temporary things define permanent things in our life. Temporary things. We are here, we are a student, we have, of course, we're putting a lot of pressure financially from a time perspective, and we start giving up on our dreams. When you decided to do your degree, when both of you decided, the first time, did you talk to like 500 people to ask them what your dream was? You had a certain dream in mind.
Yes.
You had a certain, picture of what it will be at the end of it. A lot of times what happens is we see that picture, we see that dream, we come here, we get scared. We get scared and we look around and we look at people and we get this imposter syndrome that, everybody is doing so well except for me. And then we do the biggest mistake. We abandon the dream. Abandoning the dream is worse than not seeing the dream. We abandon it and we go by the flow, and a lot of times we are misdirected. We'll do stuff that we don't know why it is happening, what it is yielding, but because we abandoned on it. We abandoned on our dreams and we'll just let it flow. Don't do that. Never do that. It's okay to sometimes feel scared. It's okay. So what? If it, as I said, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, and we are learning. We are learning. You watch all these movies about all these historical kings and fighting the lions and all that stuff. Do you think that they don't break a sweat? They do. Everybody does. Fear is a teacher. Fear helps you learn. It helps you push yourself. Somewhere, once we reach that threshold, and it's all confidence. Confidence to do better, confidence to push yourself, confidence to meet people that you don't know, confidence to do stuff that you would generally not do because when you break out of that box, when you crack that ceiling, is when you start realizing yourself.